I had a octogenarian professor when I was out at UBC who would talk about drug policy, and he believed that every drug in the world, every illegal drug in the world should be legalized so that we can control its use and distribution the way we do with alcohol or tobacco, try to minimize the impact that it has on young people, except crystal meth. It's a category of its own. It's a drug that is just too damaging in the brain to have in our communities at all.
My name is Matin Vatankhahi. I'm a film student at Fanshawe College and a new resident to London, Ontario. Like a curious child, I went out to explore this new playground. However, they weren't like the ones I've played in before. They had these special boxes placed all over parks in the city. They weren't for mail or garbage, they were for needles. There I realized London is dealing with a significant problem. My curiosity led me to meet with individuals who could inject more truth into this matter.
Crystal meth is a very powerful amphetamine. It basically fires all of your brain synapses at once. The high is extremely euphoric. The stimulation of crystal meth makes the user feel like they are invincible, like they can do anything, like they can accomplish anything, like they're going to be way more productive.
While crystal meth is a serious issue for major cities across Canada, London is a prime example of a city affected by addiction. While delving further into this topic, I couldn't help but wonder, why London?
Crystal meth is coming into London now, in part because of displacement of other drugs. It's really replacing things like OxyContin, which used to be very easy to get. Fentanyl as well, when users are, very hardcore addicted and they for one reason or another can't get their hands on fentanyl, or they can't afford it because it is more expensive than crystal meth. They might turn to crystal meth thinking it's an alternative.
Substances are a global industry now. So even though crystal meth is in the media right now, while we're sitting here talking about this around the world, people are in fact developing other designer drugs that will eventually probably arrive here.
If so many people are suffering from addiction and moving on from one drug to the next, what effect does this have on the community?
And people that have used significant amounts over a long period have very significant disruption of the normal activities in the brain, to the point where it can take up to 5 years for the brain to recover.
You would never know that most people are actually using it. There's a friend of mine who actually went pretty far downhill with regards to his meth usage. You can end up using a lot very, very quickly, and I think it's really due to the fact that it stops you from being able to sleep. So for instance, if you take it and you have to go to work the next day, you're left with a choice. You can either be coming down at work and feeling like crap and having a bad day, or you can do more, but that will also stop you from sleeping the night after that.
It's really a sign of the unraveling at the edges of our society. What it means is that people that are living their lives without hope, without meaning, without any reason to take care of themselves. It's not like people don't know that crystal meth is going to have a very damaging effect on them.
They're not stupid people, right? So they, in fact, are well aware that they are very stigmatized within the community. From my perspective, I often come back to people don't know, and I sometimes wonder if they want to know. Like, is it easier just to pretend there's no issues because we can't see it? It's their problem, it's not us.
On a municipal level, how are these issues being approached? Who's working with who, and what can the people of London expect to be done?
So what we're trying to do in London and Middlesex right now is to bring the anchor institutions to the table. They realize that they have a role to play and part of the solution. But I think we also know that there's no communities around the world that really have faced this issue and been able to be successful. So we're not only having to think of new ways of doing what we're doing, but we also need to try things that have really never been done before.
I think sometimes it can be easy to blame individuals in terms of, oh, you made a bad choice. Why did you try this drug in the first place? Didn't you know better? There's lots of prevention and messages out there to say, don't do drugs, right? So it becomes easy when you dehumanize people to blame them.
We definitely need to help people also understand the implications aren't just for the individuals that are taking the drugs, they are for the whole community. This is the sort of thing that feeds organized crime, that spreads infectious disease, that leads to neighborhoods being ghettoized and starting to unravel. And so, if people think this doesn't affect them or their families, they really need to think again. The approach of harm reduction is very important because it recognizes that some people may not right now be ready or willing to tackle their addictions. And in the meantime, they may cause problems for themselves, for the health of others.
People, as it is, typically will not call 911 if somebody is overdosing in their house, just for fear that because once the ambulance shows up, the police will almost always be with them. If the police must show up, the Good Samaritan bylaws would prohibit them from, pressing charges for possession on anyone who might have paraphernalia on them or what have you.
We are seeing, for example, right now, an epidemic of HIV in our injection drug using population. And so we have a clean needle distribution program, and we absolutely need to make sure that is more targeted and more broadly available across the community so we aren't missing people.
Yes, people can go to use substances in a supervised, safe manner, but they can be located in different locations in a community, often within a place where they can also get services that would help either decrease the substance use or at least get support so that they continue to live safely. So
many people question harm reduction as a philosophy, believing that it is condoning drug use or even encouraging and allowing it in some places. If we don't give people the equipment they need to do so safely, as well as the support and teaching them how to use the equipment safely, then we're going to continue to see problems that go well beyond the individual addict.
The thing you have to remember is nobody chooses to be an addict. They choose to take the drug. They choose to take the drug the first time, that's on them, but nobody actually chooses addiction. It really is like you wake up one day and that's it. You're an addict. You can't see it coming in a lot of cases.
in real life, people are destroyed. Their lives are destroyed. There's an impact on the people around them. There's nothing pretty about this. There's nothing fun. It eats away people's brains.
It is a very, very damaging drug and takes literally years of abstinence to recover from in terms of the impact on the brain and getting the brain back to baseline. Crystal meth is a major problem in some communities. In other communities it hasn't come yet, but it is coming, I guarantee.